The teacher only lightly patted the girls, but to her surprise the girl had an extraordinarily rare fertility constitution. Afterwards the teacher led her to the image of the mountain god in front of the mountain god. She asked her whether she was a virgin. Upon hearing the girl answer yes, the teacher still wasn't convinced and examined her again. She ultimately confirmed that the girl was indeed a virgin and hurriedly relayed this news to the village chief. Immediately, the group decided to marry the girl off to the mountain god. The next morning, they changed the girl into her wedding attire and planned to take her to the mountain god's temple to complete the marriage ceremony. Little did they know that all of this had been orchestrated by the girl herself. It turned out that for generations, this village had been sacrificing to the mountain god in order to seek his blessing for the villagers' livelihood. Each year, they would choose an unmarried girl of marriageable age to become the mountain god's bride, hoping she would conceive the mountain god's offspring. But in the past century, none of the chosen girls had ever returned safely to the village, nor had any borne the mountain god's children. Over time, the villagers' fear of becoming the mountain god's bride grew day by day. Only this girl volunteered willingly to become the mountain god's bride. But according to old custom, once a family had already had a daughter become the mountain god's bride, that family's second daughter was ineligible to marry the mountain god again. Moreover, this girl's elder sister had tragically died as a result of marrying the mountain god. The girl had once caused an uproar in the village over her sister's fate. But now, as the village's first university graduate, she unexpectedly chose to return and willingly become the mountain god's bride. This naturally aroused suspicion. However, the girl said she had been in poor health recently, with her body often experiencing unexplained fevers. The village doctor diagnosed her as being in heat, saying she urgently needed to be with a man of abundant young energy. Otherwise her life would be at stake. The girl then revealed that she had an extraordinarily rare fertility constitution, believing she could quickly conceive the mountain god's child. Upon hearing this, the teacher beside her stepped forward and lightly patted the girl's butt. He then exclaimed in shock, proclaiming that the girl's butt was inherently of a fertile constitution. But the village chief was still hesitant about allowing the girl to become the mountain god's bride, so he consulted the mountain gods by casting the sacred divination cup. The result was the mountain god's silent descent. Thus, the girl was chosen as the mountain god's bride as she had wished. The village chief immediately selected an auspicious date, planning to send the girl in a bridal sedan chair to the mountain god's temple to wed. But at that moment, the music that played turned out to be funeral music instead of celebratory tunes. The girl panicked. She hurriedly asked the village chief why. The village chief explained that the mountain god was unlike ordinary beings, and during his wedding, celestial music must be used to display his noble status. The girl was nervous, but under the escort of the crowd, she walked into the dense forest. As soon as she entered the forest, the girl felt that the atmosphere was off. The air around her was heavy with Ian, and the path twisted and turned. Soon they continued along the winding path. They finally arrived at a riverside. The teacher told the girl that this river was the entrance to the mountain god's temple. After saying this, she covered the girl's eyes with a red cloth. The girl's body trembled sharply. The teacher explained that it was tradition. When one is the mountain god's bride, her gaze must be pure. Otherwise, the forest spirits would disturb her. After hearing this, the girl even asked for the cloth to be tied more securely. Hearing the mountain god would find her lacking. With everyone's support, the girl slowly made her way toward the mountain god's temple. They finally reached the temple gate. Someone removed the red cloth from the girl's eyes. The village chief solemnly told the girl that she must conceive the mountain god's child in order to leave this place. The entire village's hopes rested on her. The girl merely gave a faint smile and then walked through the temple's main gate. Suddenly, she heard strange sounds. She recalled that the teacher had told her, after entering the temple, that during the journey ahead, no matter what strange noises she heard, she must not look back. And if she saw a red lantern ahead, it would be the mountain god guiding her. Moreover, with each garment she removed, she had to loudly announce her identity.